All right, so here we are. And let's come to the mat and we'll take the shoulders on the block. And you can have the legs out straight or Baddha Konasana, either one. Oh. All right. And as usual, making your way onto that block, getting the body settled. Using those hands to help lengthen that neck out and over. And as you get yourself more settled in there, bringing more and more of your attention to that breath. Inhaling and exhaling. So there's many things our breath can do. There's many things our attention to our breath can do. They can both smooth things out, ease things. They can also awaken and energize. And so every day when we come onto our mat and start our practice, focusing on the breath, no matter what I'm saying up here, your breath might be doing something a little different for you than it did the last time you practiced. So this is just something you can observe. You don't necessarily have to think hard about it. And if you feel inspired, sending the breath pouring out through the arms, stretching wide up and overhead. We'll just take a few more breaths here. And then gently making your way up. And if your legs aren't in Baddha Konasana yet, bringing them there. And holding on to the ankles or shins, taking a lengthen up, maybe even a little lift to the chest. Deep breath. And then coming forward. Inhaling into the center of the body, exhale, pouring out. Down that lower back and sacrum into the sitting bones to the floor. Out the knees, out the top of the head. Up, sliding those legs out to straighten Dandasana. Give a little lift from behind. And then we'll come forward here. Tilting the pelvis
as best you can, and coming forward any amount, or maybe it's better to keep the hands behind right here. So our object is mostly to lengthen out the back of the legs. And we're also using our muscles to do that, those thighs, pulling the kneecaps up as we reach down the calf out through the heel. And then coming up, and let's come around onto all fours, taking a few cats and cows. And you can put a little front and back into that, or around to the side, whatever you like, sending a wave of the breath through the body, through that spine. And then let's finish with that cat and cow and make a little bit more space between the knees. Long pull back into child's pose. Inhaling and exhaling. And once again, all that attention on the breath. Drawing yourself into yourself. That's one of those many yoga things that sound a little silly. Draw yourself into yourself, and yet it is actually a very profound thing. Because we spend a lot of time sending ourselves out into the world, reacting to things around us. So now we're doing sort of the opposite. Letting go of the rest of the world and just being in yourself. And let's come up to downward facing dog. Of course, there's always distractions and things, and it's a process back and forth. All right, and we're now going to walk the dog or anything else you want to do here. And then finishing up with that dog walking, finding the best downward facing dog you can do at this moment. Nothing moving but the breath. And then we'll look between the hands to jump or step forward. And into a concave back halfway up, using a little bend in the knees if you like. And then pouring back over. extending the legs so they might not be straight, pouring down through the top of the head. Breathing here, 3 or 4 more breaths. And then let's take a big step back with the left leg into the long, low lunge with our right leg in front. And we're not going to put the knee down just yet, but a little press down with that tailbone. Stretching into the front of the left leg. And then let's twist to the right. Pulling that right outer hip down and a little bit back. And we'll circle the right arm, reaching it back. And then down and forward, up and over. Once more around that direction. And then we'll go the other direction, reaching forward and back and up into the twist. Forward and back and up into the twist. Reaching up through the right fingertips, we will touch the left knee down. So just here, reaching up through that right arm, pulling a little more open into the twist. And then bringing that right hand down, straighten the left leg, stepping forward. Into the concave, back halfway up, folding over. Same thing, other side, stepping back with the right leg. Take a few breaths, lengthening that lunge. And then a little bit of press down with the tailbone. Maybe that right knee softens a little for a moment. Breathing into the front of the right hip. And then we will twist to the left. Left outer hip going back and down because it kind of likes to wing out. And then circling the arm, reaching back, reaching down and forward and up once more that direction around. And then we'll go the other direction, reaching forward and down and back. And then pulling the right knee down while we reach up even more through the left arm. And there's a little more pull open in that left side. And bringing the left arm down, stepping forward. Into the concave, back halfway up. Folding over. Deep breath. And we will come up to standing. Big lift up. Lifting up a little more. And pressing the arms down. And let's take a side bend. So let's see, I'll be the mirror here. Not that it's going to matter because we're doing each side. Right arm up and over, leaning out into that right outer hip. And a big lift back up through the top of the head. Same thing, left arm up and over to the right. Reach a little more down that left outer leg. And a big lift up. And then coming over. Both arms coming up. And diving over.
concave back, folding over. And let's make our way back to downward facing dog, jumping or stepping. And really pressing back through the legs, through the sitting bones, and we'll lengthen forward to the plank. Keep pressing back. Half that weight back there in the legs. And then lowering yourself to the floor. You can lower straight in chaturanga. I'm going to do kneeling chaturanga. You could knees, chest, chin, or just come down to the floor into that small cobra. Lengthening up elbows back, collarbones forward, and then lengthening down. 2 more small cobras. Keep that breath going. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. And then bring the hands forward any amount to come up in a spacious cobra for yourself. Inhaling up the front, exhale, pouring down the back, reaching back through those legs as well. And coming down. Let's peel ourselves back up, maybe with a little cat back ripple to downward facing dog. And if you would like to go smoothly through the vinyasa here, we'll do that. Forward to the plank, chaturanga, upward facing dog, or maybe that cobra again, and downward facing dog. And let's lift our right leg up, reaching long through the heel. Reaching longer and longer to bring that right leg higher and higher. Dog at the high fire hydrant, bending the right knee. Holding that left leg nice and steady. Pulling across with the right foot. And then through to the lunge. And let's bring our hands up on our right knee into a long diagonal, pressing down in the hands to make yourself really stable here. And then still with the hands on the legs, start pressing yourself up more vertical. Again, using the press of the hands there to stabilize you. And then bringing those arms up overhead. And namaste in front and into the floor. So you can use that to come up in the high lunge anytime you want, especially if it's a wiggly high lunge day. And then we're going to bring our left knee down and Jayasana, coming up, inhaling up the front, exhale, pouring down the back. And let's interlock the fingers behind, rolling the shoulders out. Lift the chest to lift the chin. Bringing the arms back up overhead and pulling down to namaste in front. Matsyendrasana, walking the right foot a little across to the left. Pulling that left knee under. Here we are. So I'm going to turn. You can stay at the front of your mat. I'm going to turn and be the mirror here so you can see where we'll be going from here. All right, so here we are. Right leg on top, and we will twist to the right. Inhale and exhale. And then reaching back through the right arm, just bring it up and over to the front. And we're going to breathe it up and over back into the twist.
And then back to the front. Let's take a twist to the left, the open side. And then walk the hands out a little. We're going to extend that left leg out to the side. So my left leg is going along a straight line out from that left hip. I'm on the outer edge of the leg, reaching through the heel. So if you need to sink in your shoulders, go ahead. The moment I'm just a tiny bit suspended with that left hip off the floor, but you don't need to be. And you can have the arms bent any amount. You can walk them out further. And then feeling that side bending from that right outer heel up left outer heel up the left side. And you can do a little squinge and shift there, looking for a good spot for you. So it should put the side bend action a lot more along the outer left hip and in the lower waist, a little different place than we usually get into so intensely. And we'll take a few breaths here. And then reassembling yourself. And we'll take that right leg down, and we are, at long last, in Sukhasana, the cross legs. And coming forward.
And then contracting back into the spine to ripple up, and we'll take a few of those ripples. Reaching out and over, rolling back. And just 3 or 4 more. And then we will finish with our rippling, arriving here on our sitting bones. Long and spacious spine, resting and lengthening against the wall behind. Let's reach out wide through the collarbones, through the fingertips. Inhale and exhale, breathing those arms up, taking up lots of space. And breathing down again, and we'll do that once more. Inhale and exhale. And inhale and exhale. And then bringing those legs in, coming up into the forward bend, expanding up. And then let's make our way back to downward facing dog. Concave back, folding over, jumping or stepping back, downward facing dog. Through the vinyasa or not. And then we'll do that all on the left. Let's lift our left leg up. Reaching through the other 3 limbs into the floor to lift that left leg a little higher. And then bending the left knee, dog at the high fire hydrant. And so the more you hold that right leg stable and don't let the right heel wing out, the more you can pull up and open through that left inner thigh, out the knee, out the foot. And through to the lunge. All right. And then making our way slowly to the high lunge, hands on that left knee, finding that long line, tailbone to, top of the head to the tailbone to the right heel,
strong core, pressing down with those hands, helping to stabilize you. And then pressing the hands into that leg a little more to come up more vertical. And then bringing the arms up, or maybe not. And namaste in front. Namaste into the floor. And we'll bring that right knee down. Coming up in Anjayasana, the kneeling one. And then bringing the arms around to interlock the fingers behind. Lift the chest to lift the chin. And arms up overhead. Namaste in front. And Matsayendrasana, walking the left foot across, pulling that right knee under. So we come around to the mirror here again. So we have our left leg crossed over now. And we will twist to the left. Inhale and exhale, using that breath to settle into your twist. And then let's reach back through that left arm, bringing it up and over to the front. And then breathing it back up and over into the twist again. Coming back to the center. And a little twisting to the right. And then walking the hands out a little. So of course, it's always an option, obviously, just to do our sort of stretch like this we do. But let's try to extract that right leg along this side. So this is a weird thing. So hopefully you're figuring it out. You could possibly be needing to move that left foot. I should have said that before. And maybe you're kind of hunched and sinking in the shoulders. So I would say don't worry about having wide collarbones at this moment. Focusing more on finding that outer right leg going along the floor, out the outer right foot, and that stretch on the outer hip and lower waist, and probably a little different kind of side. You can roll just a little back, roll just a little bit more forward, finding a good spot for yourself, trying to breathe. And then pulling that right leg back. And we'll take the left leg down in front. And here we are at long last in Sukhasana. And coming forward. Breathing into the back of the body. And then coming up, unfurling that spine, and let's ripple, maybe rippling the opposite direction of what you did before, but it doesn't really matter. You can't figure it out or you're not sure. Just ripple. Inhale and exhale, inhale and exhale, wherever your breath wants to be with this. And we'll ripple 3 or 4 more times. And then finishing up on top of those sitting bones with that long and spacious spine. And reaching out wide through the collarbones to the fingertips, breathing those arms up. Inhale and exhale up. Inhale and exhale down. Once more. And then bringing those legs in, coming up into the forward bend. And straightening the legs, expanding into that forward bend. Taking a few breaths here. Back up on top of our feet. And then coming up to standing, big front body yawn. Little bit more, pull that tailbone down. And pressing the arms down and wide. Let's come all the way around to namaste in front. And then there's our 2 stretched sides, only now they're nice and even, holding each other there. And let's come up in the tree pose. So let's bring the right leg up first. And so we're not really stretching into that left side, but being very aware of that left outer side, down through the leg. And then we'll bring that right leg down. And let's do the left, really feeling that strong outer line of the right leg. And bringing the left foot down. Deep breath. And let's come over. Bringing those arms up. And diving over. Concave back, folding over through the vinyasa, downward facing dog. And let's lift our right leg up. Reaching long through that heel. Reach a little more. Dog at the high fire height. And then let's hover plank knee forward. And a big inhale to swoop the leg back up and then through to the lunge. And let's come up in that high lunge. Maybe you can just swoop the arms up, maybe using the hands on the knee. And we'll twist to the right, parallel arms to the floor. And then floating the left hand down to the floor, right arm up. And pulling the left knee down, stretching into that. And then a big reach around with the right arm. We're going to pivot on our left knee and walk the right foot out for Paridasana. So I'm not the mirror here. We're standing on our left and right legs on a slight diagonal forward with the knee and the top of the foot to the ceiling. So it's not a parallel leg like what we were doing along the floor, but a rotated out leg like the triangle. Here's our parallel side on the left. Long through the top of the head and then coming over. And see if you might feel a little bit more stretch through there, a little bit more space since we did that sliding leg out in that Sayandrasana. One more breath. And coming up. Now we will turn our right leg to parallel. So foot on the floor, reaching down through that outer right leg. And we'll come up and over to the left and into the side bend there. See if there's a little bit more stretch along that right outer hip. And then press the tailbone a little forward, pull that right shoulder a little back. Big inhale and exhale, coming into child's pose. So we're facing the long edge of the mat in child's pose. And then nice and simple, just pivot around back toward the front of your mat to expand up and downward facing dog. Through the vinyasa, any version, and then downward facing dog, and we will do that on the other side. All right, lifting the left leg up. Dog at the high fire height. And hover plank left knee forward. And swooping back up through to the lunge. And let's come up in the high lunge, maybe supporting on that knee to get stabilized, or you can just bring the arms up. And just as the high lunge is challenging for me and for others, it might not be that challenging for you. All right, let's twist to the left, arms parallel to the floor. And floating the right hand down. And then pulling the right knee down, deepening into that for a moment. And a big reach around with the left arm, swivel on the right knee, walking that left foot out, finding that little bit of a diagonal forward from the knee, top of the leg toward the ceiling like the triangle leg. One side on that right standing side. And then up and over to the left, Parigasana, the gate pose, maybe with a little bit more stretch and space there than you have in the past, have had in the past. Keep working with that breath. And then coming up. And we'll turn that left leg into parallel. Toes face forward, outer edge of the leg up. Coming over to the right. And then finding that little bit more length maybe there along the right outer hip. And then press the tailbone a little more forward, pull that left shoulder back. And a big reach around, coming into child's pose, breathing there. And then just a little swivel back to the front of the mat to expand into downward facing dog and through the vinyasa or knots. Three deep breaths here in downward facing dog. Drawing yourself into yourself again. And let's lift the right leg up. Dog at the high fire hydrant. Maybe 2 hover planks this time. Inhale and exhale. Inhale, swoop that leg back up and exhale. Swooping up through to the lunge. Warrior number 2. And then making sure everything arrived, knee over the foot, heel to the arch, possibly heel to heel. That's all right. And then let's tilt into the triangle. So that triangle, in order to tilt, we have that stretch there along that outer hip into the lower waist. So it's not a side bend necessarily that we're going for in the triangle, but we still have a big stretch across that outer hip. Reaching down the outer edge of the left leg, maybe a little bit more awareness there. And then let's go to the side angle, bending that right knee. Keep reaching up through the left arm as you pull yourself long. And now it's more of a flat line on that left outer leg, but still maybe a little more awareness on the left side. You can bring your right arm up on the knee if you would like. And then let's circle our arm here, reaching back, reaching down and forward, twisting up and open to the left, going this direction once more. And then the other direction, reaching forward and down, and up and open, and once more. Another breath or two here. And then we'll take the low row to the wide leg forward bend. Prasarita Padottanasana. Another breath or two here. And then turning back to the right lunge. Stepping back, vinyasa or not. Remember, we have hover planks, so be mindful of how your wrists and shoulders are doing. And then we'll all be in downward facing dog to do that on the left. All right, here we go, lifting our left leg up. And dog at the high fire height. Maybe 2 hover planks this time. Inhale and exhale, knee forward. Inhale to lift, exhale, knee forward. Inhale to lift, and stepping through to the lunge. Warrior number 2 on the left. Breathing here, checking that all your body parts are right. Taking a moment, coming back into yourself, into your breath, and you don't have to pay attention to what else might be going on. Nothing but the warrior 2. And then hinging over into the triangle, doing that little stretch over there along that right outer hip. Even though it's not a side bend, to do that tilt, we need a lot of stretch on that right outer hip. And then there's just feeling that right leg, the back leg, down the outer edge of the leg into the outer foot, like when we were reaching it out and under from that Matsyendrasana. Couple more breaths. And then bending the left knee, pulling down into the side angle. And we're still lengthening a lot along that right side. You can bring the left arm up onto the left knee if you like. And then we'll circle the arm here. Big reach back, reaching down and forward, up and open, twist up and open to the right, going that direction again. And then the other direction, reaching forward and down and back, twisting right to help that right arm up.
And once more. Couple more breaths here. And then we just take the low road around to Prasarita Padottanasana, the wide apart feet. Maybe there's a little bit more wide apartness of the feet. And a few more breaths here. Oh, slidey feet. I'll be doing the split without meaning to. All right, let's turn back to the left lunge toward the front of the mat. And stepping back, you can vinyasa or not. Our ultimate destination is child's pose. Oh, feels good to linger in up dog though. So if you're going along with me, here we are in downward facing dog. Couple more breaths here. And then coming down, sitting back in child's pose, and here we all are. And let's come down to the floor, and we will get our block and take a supported bridge pose. Salamba Setu Bandha. Lifting up, block under the sacrum, sliding the legs out. And then a little bit of cooperation with the block so we have some integrity in the pose and in the shape, but it's up to you how much intensity you want to put into that. I'll rest a little more easefully on the block. If you want to work a little more, extend a little more actively. I'm getting settled there. And once again, here's our breath. Smoothing things out, easing things out. Maybe waking things up. So when we get a little weary, like toward the end of class, as you might feel, sometimes parts of your body, and your mind too for that matter, kind of start to be, oh, like we're tired, we'll just kind of retreat a little and be a little less aware, a little less focused. So sometimes we need a little waking up at the end of class. And then let's bend the knees and we'll lift up into the bridge pose.
that blocks in the way, you can get it out. Ah, inhaling into the front of the body, exhale, moving into that space. And then rolling slowly down, vertebrae by vertebrae. Ah, landing on the floor. Ah, so maybe you're ready to slide right into Shavasana. Or if you'd like doing something else, maybe figure four or anything else, knees side to side, whatever you feel like you need. And if you're figure four or anything one-sided, switching sides. And as we're holding here, breathing yourself halfway into Shavasana. And setting that down, and we will make our way to Shavasana. Not much time on the clock, but that's all right. As we inhale and exhale and just drop right in. Connecting into all those Shavasanas you have ever done. So we don't have to start all over. We just drop into that continuum of Shavasanas. Moving the fingers and toes, circling the wrists and ankles, Stretching the arms up overhead. And then the knees, making your way gently up to sitting. And sitting in any comfortable position, taking a few more moments, sitting. Namaste. Thank you for coming.